The banquet hall fell silent as Sheikh Qasim al-Hassan rose from his seat, pointing toward the waitress no one had noticed.
You there, girl. You look clever. Let's see if you can match my court poet in a duel of verse.
Mia Karam froze, a tray of empty glasses in her hands, every eye in the room turning to her.
Or are you only good for carrying plates? Surely a woman of your station has nothing worth hearing.
My sheikh, please. I wouldn't want to embarrass the poor girl publicly. This is unworthy of your hall.
They think I am nothing, but my grandmother's words are fire.
She watched Farid's performance, his voice slick with rehearsed pride, and she knew exactly what poem she would unleash. When Farid finished, the hall erupted in applause, the aristocrats already dismissing Mia before she spoke.
Now, girl, impress us if you can, or leave my hall and take your silence with you.
Mia stepped forward, and the first verses that left her mouth made the chandeliers seem to tremble. Her voice cut through the clinking glasses and smug laughter, each syllable deliberate as if she had carried these words for years.
In the hour when the desert wept, a woman knelt in blood and sand, her hands mending what kings had shattered.
What is this nonsense she dares to utter in my hall?
Farid shifted his weight, arms still crossed, but his rehearsed smirk had thinned. The girl's rhythm was nothing he had been taught. Mia's words painted a desert tent at dusk where a servant woman named Layla bound a soldier's wound with strips torn from her own hem. The guests exchanged bewildered glances, whispers spreading like sand. These nobles had never questioned the stories they were told.
Enough riddles. This mockery has no place among my guests. Guard, escort her out.
But an elder from the far corner of the hall raised a trembling hand, and even the Sheikh's guards halted at the silent command.
She carried the emir's seal beneath her rags, the truth they buried in silk and gold, a truth your bloodline forgot.
The chandeliers no longer trembled. The entire hall now held its breath, frozen between denial and the dread of what she would say next. Sheikh Qasim's knuckles whitened on the armrest as the girl's poem snaked closer to a name he had ordered his historians to erase.
I said enough. This servant is poisoning my guests' ears. Guards, do your duty now.
But the elder nobleman did not lower his hand. The guards glanced at him, then at their sheikh, and remained frozen.
She's not reciting a poem. She's laying out a burial shroud for the sheikh's reputation.
She taught him letters by candlelight, the heir they called a bastard, while his father's court danced on lies.
In the poem's imagery, a young Layla sat with a small boy, tracing letters on sand, the emir's seal hidden among her rags.
This cannot be. My grandfather's firstborn died in infancy. Every record says so.
A whisper rippled through the tables as an old merchant leaned to his wife, voice trembling.
Your dynasty was built on her silent sacrifice. Yet you dare to mock the hands that held your family's spine.
A noble woman's glass slipped, shattered on marble, and no one moved to pick up the shards. The hall held its breath for what Mia would say next.
He was not a bastard. He was the firstborn son, hidden from the knives of jealous wives, nursed by the woman you forced to disappear.
My grandmother's name was never spoken. Who is this girl to resurrect it in my own hall?
My sheikh. Perhaps we should let her finish. The court is listening.
Layla had not vanished. She had fled with a child strapped to her chest, crossing the salt flats while the palace celebrated a false heir. Murmurs turned to gasps. An elderly widow at a far table clutched her chest, mouthing a prayer.
You lie. You are a servant who memorized old gossip. There is no proof.
Proof. The emir's seal still hangs around my neck. It was passed to my grandmother on the night she saved your grandfather's heir.
The sheikh's eyes locked onto the pendant. His hand flew to his chest, where an identical crest had been embroidered into his robes since childhood. An old woman had shown that seal to a young Mia, her scarred arm trembling, whispering the truth before she died. The hall that had mocked her now hung on each syllable, waiting for a dynasty to unravel.
That pendant is a counterfeit. You stole it from some dusty market and wove this fantasy to humiliate my house.
The elder nobleman stepped forward, his ancient eyes fixed on the seal. He had served 3 generations and knew the Al-Hassan crest better than anyone.
Read the verse on the back. Respected elder. It was whispered by the heir's mother on the night she was cast out. No market sells that secret.
The elder's hand trembled as he turned the seal over. His lips moved silently, deciphering the ancient script.
It could be copied. Any servant who cleaned the palace could have seen the original and had this made.
If he reads it aloud, every soul in this hall will know the shame my ancestors buried. I must stop this.
The verse prays for the child of Layla and Emir Yusuf, the firstborn hidden from the blade. Your own grandmother could not have faked this.
A gasping silence fell as the elder finally spoke, his voice thin but carrying. I have not seen this script in 60 years. It matches the private letters of Emir Yusuf, preserved in the palace archive. The Sheikh sank back, a man watching his legacy drain onto the marble floor. The court poet had no verses left. The duel was not about skill anymore. It was about blood. Sheikh Qasim drew himself up, his voice cutting through the murmurs, turning the elder's testimony into a weapon.
The palace archive was ash before you were born. Old man, your memory is a ruin. There are no letters left to compare.
The elder's hand faltered, and the certainty in the hall fractured into anxious whispers that spread like cracks in glass.
The girl's story hangs on a ghost's word and a piece of metal. Is this a court of law or a tavern tale?
My grandmother had no fire, no palace. She had only the truth pressed into her palm. The emir's seal survived because it was carried by the forgotten.
Nobles shifted uneasily, their loyalties pulled like ropes. A merchant's wife whispered that the sheikh might be right, while a young lord's eyes stayed locked on the pendant.
Enough. This farce has consumed my feast. I will not let a serving girl and a senile relic rewrite history in my hall. Leave now.
I will leave when the truth leaves, and the truth does not bow to silk or anger.
The guard stepped forward, but the elder raised a trembling hand, his gaze fixed on the sheikh with something harder than age. He spoke of a vault beneath the East Library, where the emir's letters were preserved. He could send for them. The hall held its breath, the duel now teetering on ancient ink. Sheikh Qasim's laughter was brittle as a dry branch, but his eyes flickered like a cornered animal.
The vault. The East Library was ash a century ago. You speak of ghosts, old man. There are no letters.
But the elder's hand did not tremble now. He turned to the crowd, his voice rising with the weight of buried truth.
You fear what ink remembers. Every lie you have built will drown in this hall if you let the letters speak.
You would trust a serving girl and a dusty rumor over your own sheikh. This has gone beyond madness.
If those letters surface, I lose everything. My father's name, my son's inheritance, erased.
The hall split into hushed factions, some nodding with the poet, others leaning toward the elder, a few already staring at the floor in shame.
I do not ask for trust. I ask you to look at what your own blood wrote. Let the truth speak louder than any poet.
The elder signaled to a servant at the far door. The man hesitated, eyes darting to the sheikh, then slipped into the dark corridor. The hall did not applaud. It did not breathe. It simply waited for aged ink to crown a queen of rags or bury a dynasty in dust. The minutes had teeth. No one ate, no one drank. The clink of a crystal chandelier sounded like betrayal in the hush.
The vault was emptied months ago. If that boy returns with anything, it will be a forgery she planted. I will burn it in front of them.
The far door crashed open. The servant staggered in. A small wooden chest pressed to his chest, his breath ragged.
Seize that box. It could be a weapon. The sheikh's life is not to be gambled on a servant's errand.
The elder stepped into the guard's path, his thin arm a barrier that halted 2 armored men.
You have spent a lifetime silencing her. One more torn page will not erase what your blood knows.
The elder took the chest, his hands steady for the first time all evening. He lifted the lid, and the scent of old ink rose like a ghost.
Those are forgeries. My chambermaid could have hidden them there last week. I will not have my court polluted by this.
The elder raised a single letter, its seal broken long ago, but before he could read, the Sheikh lunged. The parchment tore with a sound like a sob. Half fluttered to the marble. The half in the elder's hand bore a name, Layla. The hall gasped as the Sheikh stumbled back, scraps fluttering at his feet. The elder raised the torn fragment, his voice no longer trembling, and read the words that the Sheikh had tried to destroy.
You tore the paper, but you cannot tear the truth. Your own hands have just proven that my story is not a fantasy.
Half a sentence means nothing. If she reads the rest, I am finished. I must turn the crowd now.
This is theater. The girl has arranged this whole scene. She planted those papers. The Sheikh is the victim of a conspiracy.
He read aloud. The child of Layla and Yusuf shall be known as the true heir of Al-Hassan, born of love and sacrifice, hidden from the blade of envy.
Enough. That is not official. It is a private scribble. You cannot overturn a dynasty with a torn love note.
But a young woman in the front row, her face wet with tears, whispered loud enough for all to hear. My grandmother spoke of Layla. She was real.
Look at these scraps. They bear the seal and the script. Let every noble here judge for themselves.
The guards hesitated as the elder extended his hand for the scraps. The Sheikh's face was a mask of fury and fear. Mia began to piece the fragments together, her voice steady, as the hall braced for the full weight of a buried heir.
That seal was stolen. Her grandmother was a thief who fled with it. The girl's whole story is built on a crime.
She was given that seal by the emir himself on the night she saved his son. It was not a theft, it was a sacred trust.
A convenient story. Every family has a legend, but only a fool would let a waitress rewrite the history of a great house.
The elder's wrinkled hands found another scrap, and his breath caught. He held it up, the ink still shouting after a century. He read, "Let it be known that Layla bint Malik shall never be forgotten, for she is the true mother of Al-Hassan's future."
My grandfather wrote those words. If the court hears the rest, my line is erased. I have to stop this now.
But a dozen nobles were already on their feet, voices rising, demanding the full truth. The guards looked to the elder, not the Sheikh.
You called me nothing, but your own grandfather's pen named my grandmother the true mother of your house. The poem is finished.
Farid opened his mouth, but no verse came. The court poet had been silenced not by a rival, but by a ghost's old ink. The Sheikh stood frozen, his gilded hall now a courtroom, and the peasant girl held the verdict in her calloused hands. The last scrap still waited to be read. The elder lifted the last torn scrap, his fingers steady, and the weight of a century pressed into that single breath. He read, "And the line of Al-Hassan shall rest not on a stolen crown, but on the blood of Layla bint Malik, whose child was the emir's firstborn and true heir."
My grandmother's blood. That means I, the heir of Al-Hassan, is not seated at that table. It's standing here in a servant's apron.
A forgery. She wrote that herself this morning to steal my birthright. No one will believe this madness.
The court will demand more than scraps. This is a hallucination of an old man and a waitress. It will be dismissed by morning.
But the nobles did not whisper now. They stared at the seal around Mia's neck, then at the fragment, and the truth assembled itself like a ghost becoming flesh.
I am the Sheikh. My father was Sheikh, and his father before him. No scrap of paper overturns 3 generations of lawful rule. Guards, remove this impostor.
But the elder's finger traced the seal on the pendant, then the words on the fragment. The script matched perfectly. The woman the Sheikh had mocked as nothing was the direct descendant of Emir Yusuf. Mia raised the pendant, and the fragment's truth crashed through the silence. The blood of Layla, she had come to serve wine, and she had uncovered a dynasty. The hall held its breath. The Sheikh's rule dangled by a thread spun a century ago, and the waitress who had been forced to duel now held the power to crown herself, if the court dared. A young nobleman rose, his voice cutting through the stillness. "The law is clear. If the true heir stands before us, The council must convene.
The council is a relic of my grandfather's weakness. I am the law now. Guards, arrest this woman and the old man for sedition.
The elder did not flinch. His voice, carved by decades of service, carried the authority the Sheikh had lost.
You cannot overturn centuries for a waitress. The council will laugh her out before sunset.
I only wanted to clear my grandmother's name. I never wanted a crown. But if they force my hand, I will not shame her memory.
The hall erupted into factions. Merchants called for calm, nobles demanded a vote, and the common servants huddled in the back, sensing history.
I will burn every scrap, every seal, every memory of Layla before I let a peasant girl sit in my seat.
The elder took a step forward, the torn fragments and pendant raised for all to see. The council will judge. Let the truth sit in the chair of the fathers.
I did not ask for this, but I will not walk away. Call the council. Let the ink speak for itself.
The guards looked to the elder, then to the Sheikh, and for the first time in a century, the throne of Al-Hassan hung on the vote of a council that had not been called since the emir's death. The Sheikh's voice cracked as he realized he could no longer command the guards. He had ruled by fear, but fear had found a new master.
You are all traitors. This girl will bring chaos. The council will be a circus.
The elder instructed a scribe to send word. The council's members, scattered across the province, would be summoned by dawn.
I am being dragged into a world I never wanted. But my grandmother's face is clearer than any crown.
If you go before the council, your lack of noble blood will be exposed. They'll laugh you back to the kitchens.
But the elder pulled from his sleeve a yellowed page, the emir's own hand. This name will speak for her. The page, untouched by tear, bore the seal and a single line. Layla's line is my line. The hall gasped once more.
That is irrelevant. I demand you disperse this mob.
The young nobleman, who had called for the council, stepped forward, flanked by others. We will reconvene in the Hall of Justice. The council will sit before sunset. The Sheikh's face was a mask of stone, but his hands shook. The waitress who had served wine now walked toward a throne.
This path will cost me every quiet morning. But my grandmother's name is worth more than my comfort.
You think the council will crown a servant? They'll chew you up, and the Sheikh will bury your seal with your bones.
Leave now, and I will grant you a farmstead, a purse of gold, and forget this farce. Stay, and you will be branded a usurper.
My grandmother was cast out with nothing. I can leave with nothing, too. But I will not sell her memory.
The elder placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice a rasp of warning and respect. He whispered, "The council will test not just your claim, but your heart. Are you prepared to lose everything again?"
I lost my grandmother to silence. I won't let her name die, too. Whatever the council decides, the truth has already won tonight.
The young nobleman gestured toward the great doors. The path to the Hall of Justice was open.
You will regret this. I still have teeth.
Mia walked out of the golden hall, the pendant a small sun against her chest. Behind her, the feast lay ruined. Ahead, the council waited with the keys to a forgotten throne. The Hall of Justice was a vault of stone and shadow. 11 high-backed chairs faced the flames, 6 already filled by the council. Mia stepped into the circle of torchlight, the elder at her side, the evidence bundled against her chest. A white-bearded counselor rose, his voice iron. "You claim lineage to the emir, but where is your noble training? Your dynasty's manners?"
My grandmother taught me to read by candlelight and to mend wounds with salt. That is the only training her line ever needed.
This council is a mockery. I demand the right to speak before this peasant poisons your ears.
The counselor nodded, and Sheikh Qasim strode to the center, his robe swirling with bruised pride.
She brings fragments and a pendant anyone could forge. Where are the witnesses? The unbroken seal? She is a charlatan.
The elder raised the page that had never been torn. The emir's seal caught the firelight. The counselor's face tightened. He had served Qasim's father. Loyalty warred with truth in his eyes. The council recessed until dawn. But in the guttering torchlight, a shadow moved. The Sheikh's man with orders to end the trial in blood. Mia woke to the cold kiss of a blade against her throat. A hooded figure pinned her wrist, the pendant inches from his grasp.
If I scream, he slits my throat. If I let him take it, my grandmother's name dies with me.
The elder's staff struck the stone floor. The assassin spun, and the old man's voice was iron. He declared, "Harm her, and the council will hear the Sheikh ordered it. Your master will hang with you."
Take the pendant if it buys your life. But the truth is ink, not metal. You cannot kill it.
The assassin's eyes flickered. He was a mercenary, not a zealot. The old man's words had hooked his fear. Guards rushed in, but the elder held up his palm. Let him go, he will carry the story that even the Sheikh's blade cannot cut the truth.
He chose mercy over slaughter. Now I must choose. The pendant alone won't save my grandmother's memory. I need their hearts.
The assassin fled into the dark. The trial would resume at dawn, but the Sheikh's last card had been played. Mia stood, the pendant warm against her skin. She would not wait for the council's mercy. She would summon the truth from her own throat. At dawn, the council reconvened, torches renewed. Mia stood alone before the 11 chairs. The elder, absent by her own command.
I sent him away. If I fall, his name stays clean. This is my grandmother's fight now, and I won't hide behind anyone.
She has no counsel. Even the old man fled. She is a fraud abandoned by her own conspirator.
He saw the truth before the rest of you. The girl's story is thinner than her apron.
Mia did not waver. She raised the pendant, not for them, but for herself, and began to speak.
I am not here to claim a throne. I am here to bury a silence.
She wove her grandmother's life into verse, not from the letters, but from the stories breathed into her as a child. The council leaned forward, some for the first time. She spoke of the salt flats, the scar, the night Layla wept but did not break. The pendant on her chest was metal. This was blood.
Poetry, not proof. You cannot.
The eldest counselor raised a hand, silencing the Sheikh. His voice was old but clear. The eldest counselor spoke, his voice a blade of certainty. I have served 3 emirs. The seal, the script, and the scar my father described leave no doubt. This girl carries the true blood. The stone chamber held its breath. Sheikh Qasim's face drained of color, his rage flickering into something hollow.
My grandmother's name spoken by a voice that matters. She is no longer dust in a forgotten tent.
The old man is bewitched. This is a conspiracy of ghosts. I demand a vote.
The counselor turned to his peers. We need no vote. The evidence speaks for itself. But for the record, let each hand rise. One by one, the counselors raised their hands. 11 flames in the dark. The Sheikh's dynasty ended with a silent count. Farid stumbled back as if struck. The court poet had no verse for this. His mouth opened, but only a dry rasp escaped. The eldest counselor faced Mia. The throne belongs to the blood of Layla bint Malik. What say you, daughter of a servant?
I only wanted her name spoken. I have no hunger for silk chairs, but I will not let her memory be cheapened by silence.
The Hall of Justice, so silent before, erupted not in applause but in a rustle of disbelief and relief. The Sheikh stood alone, stripped of more than a title. The waitress who had been mocked had out-recited a court poet and ended a dynasty's lie with nothing but the truth. Sheikh Qasim's mouth opened for a denial, but no sound came. The man who had commanded an empire now trembled like a brittle reed.
It isn't possible. My father, my grandfather, they built this.
They built it on a woman they erased. Her blood is the only stone that never crumbled.
The eldest counselor stood, his voice filling the stone like a final seal on a long-buried vault. He declared, Mia bint Layla, by blood and truth, you are the Sheikah of this house. Will you take the seat your grandmother was denied?
I will take her name. Let the house know its true mother. But the seat I leave to those who hunger for chairs. I have carried enough.
Farid, forgotten until now, melted into the shadows. The court poet had no verse for a victory that needed no rhyme. The hall, once silent in mockery, now swelled with a different silence, the weight of a century being righted. Sheikh Qasim sank to his knees among the scattered fragments of his ancestors' lies, a man without a title, without a past. The waitress who had been handed a tray of glasses had just handed a dynasty back to its true blood. The duel was over. The eldest counselor raised the torn parchment and the pendant for all to see, his voice ringing through the stone. He declared, "Let the annals be rewritten. The house of Al-Hassan has a new Sheikah. The line of Layla bint Malik is restored." The scribes scratched the new entry into the ledger. Mia watched, the pendant still clutched against her chest.
Grandmother, I held your name high. They can never bury it again.
Sheikh Qasim, still on his knees, was stripped of his seal by the elder. Guards escorted him out, not to a dungeon but into ordinary silence.
What will become of my sons?
They carry no sin. Let them keep their honor, but not the stolen title. The house will remember Layla, not the eraser.
The crowd began to murmur Layla's name. A chant, soft at first, then swelling through the hall. The eldest counselor placed a hand on Mia's shoulder. "You have done what no army could. Go in peace, Sheikah, of rags and ink." Mia turned from the hall, the pendant glowing softly. The doors opened to the first light of dawn. The duel had ended. The truth had just begun. Mia stepped into the courtyard where the morning sky was streaked with gold. The stones still smelled of night, but the air had changed. The elder appeared in the great doorway, his voice gentle now. He said, "The house will honor your grandmother. Generations will know her name."
That's all I wanted. Not a crown, just a remembered name.
The elder retreated into the shadows of the hall, leaving her to the dawn. She looked down at the pendant, the seal still warm against her skin.
Grandmother, it's done.
She turned from the palace of stone and walked toward the old city streets, the pendant swinging lightly. Behind her, the hall of justice fell silent. Ahead, the city stirred. The waitress who had been mocked now carried the truth of a dynasty on a chain, and no one would ever silence it again. And in the dust of a forgotten tent, the name Layla rose with the sun, no longer a whisper. Mia walked through the waking market, the pendant hidden beneath her apron, but her stride was no longer that of a servant.
I used to carry glasses. Now I carry a name they cannot spill.
A fruit seller called out, her voice bright. A child ran past with bread. The ordinary world continued, unchanged. Yet everything had shifted.
Your name is written now, grandmother. Written where no fire can reach.
In the hall of justice, the scribe's fresh ink dried. The house of Al-Hassan bore a new entry, Sheikah Mia bint Layla. And in the silence of the desert, a young woman in servant's clothes was no longer a ghost. She was a mother, a founder, a name. Mia paused at a fountain, watching the water catch the first full rays of sun. She did not need a throne. She had already won.
The poets have stopped reciting. Now the truth does the talking.
She turned from the fountain and continued down the street. A waitress no more, but a woman who had out-recited a court poet and restored a forgotten name. And that, perhaps, is the truest power, not the sword, not the throne, but a single voice that refuses to be silenced.